Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello, Dr. Barry. How are you?
Doing so good. Thank you so much for reaching out. You reached out before I had seen it, and then I saw it, and I was like, I'm so glad that we already have it scheduled.
I know, right? Yeah, I texted you like while we were in the middle of it because I was like, I can't with this. I can't with this. Thank you, mods, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for being here from my channel, from Dr. Barry's channel. Y'all, if you don't know Dr. Barry, her link's down below. She's come over here many times. Many of you already were crossover, but be sure and check her out if you don't know her. Wonderful insight, wonderful personality, wonderful person. So I'm just going to jump into it. Well, first of all, I want to do this. You tell me, because at least people on my channel, they already know what I thought. So you tell me your vibes right off the rip, and then we'll go from there.
Let's start with Harvey, because how is Harvey? He's possibly an unindicted co-conspirator, and he is going off on this was unjust, this was so horrible, and the nerve. And so I think that feeds into some of Donna too, because and I think some of her friends gave legit, or character statements. She was great. The one guy that hadn't talked to her in like 20 years, I don't know why he wrote something, but it was so messy. So what were your thoughts or any questions starting with Harvey and victim impact?
Okay, so yes, absolutely. I'm so glad you started there. So I will say my thoughts were when he started going, obviously very quickly into it, my mouth was on the floor. And an overall theme is going to kind of piggyback off of what you just said. Him going in on the judge. First of all, I was like, not only has he disrespected the victim and the victim's parent, family, let's just say family, anyone related to Dan who actually really truly cared about him, but also the court and the absolute entitlement that he seemed to show with, chest out. I can't, how dare y'all do this to us? So, and then like you said, he's kind of considered like an unindicted, at least in my mind. Like, I mean, the evidence didn't look too good on him either. So what are your thoughts on the personality type? We've seen the evidence. We've seen what's out there. We've seen what the court brought forth. I understand that's his wife. Yeah. He's, I get that part, right? Same thing if it was like Charlie's his son. I understand that connection there.
And they weren't in the room. And I don't think they spoke at his sentencing because I think they were getting their plan in order. Like I think they were working on getting out of the country. Because I don't know if they were arrested before his sentencing. I don't remember if it was before this or if Donna, because not Harvey has not been arrested. And the entitlement that I heard in Harvey's statement, that was the thing that really stuck out to me. Just like, almost like, how could y'all? How could this jury? How could you judge? And not realizing that the things that he was saying was actually hurting Donna's case. Because if the judge was going to consider downward departure, giving less than the recommended, 30 years and what all the other people got besides, besides the one that was a cooperative witness, I just can't with them. I just can't. It was tough. And my heart breaks for the Markel family having to watch that. And I'm glad that they were able to get their statement in front of the judge in person before all of that foolishness. Because I think if they were in the room, the court, I wouldn't have been able to keep my face straight for I would have tried my best, but you would have been able to see something on my face.
Yeah, same. And yeah, the entitlement was like an entirely new level. And one thing, and when I say I had the realization, it's not that I had the realization, but it's like it sunk in more because I was like, wow. And I think I kept seeing this in live chat where I was like, this tells you everything you need to know about these people right here. The fact that both Donna and him Also, the way that well, first of all, I was like, yeah, this is somebody who's probably gotten their whole life. They've had this privilege, they've had this and that. They are never really told no. They've owned their own business, they've done this and that, and they finally have been stopped in their tracks. And this next statement slash question, going to roll over to Donna as well.
Yes.
I feel like what they have both done have said, because like, so in my book, they all know what they did, right? But they're looking at it like, well, no, the state has to prove this element this way. And because they didn't wear a red shirt on a Tuesday while they did it, they don't have the evidence to do that. So therefore, we're not guilty. It's not a moral thing if we did it or not. It's, did we do enough to get away with it?
Yes.
Their world, they're like, we did enough to get away with this, so why are we here? Like, it's almost like they're not coming at it from the perspective. And I mean, and again, on both sides is, of course she doesn't want to go to prison, of course he doesn't want her to go to prison. That's standard. They want to get away with the crime, so I get that. But it's still shocking to see somebody dig their heels into such a level where I'm like, hello, Captain Obvious. We all, that Cardi B thing where she did that, like, look, like that's the moment I'm like, did we see the same trial?
I have eyes. What do you mean? So with Donna, the fact that she had the nerve to say, if she knew that this was being planned, that she would have stopped it. Because I don't believe that. I don't believe that's true at all. And for her to have the nerve to blame that phenomenal Tallahassee jury, and Judge Everett gave her more than enough room. Like, Judge Everett has the piece of Job. If people haven't watched Kathy from Gossip Rumor and Innuendo, her video, because somebody gifted her a, like, with Judge Everett as like a black pope, or I don't know, he gave her some type of prayer candle. With like a prayer. It's like, if people haven't seen that video, please go and watch Kathy's recap, because it was absolutely hilarious, because he gave her so many chances. And I think Donna doesn't want to be seen, doesn't want the narrative of being a murderous grandmother. Do you know, like, I think the appearance is what matters to her, and not the actual facts, not what actually happened. And it reminds me of Sarah Boone. Oh my gosh, the way she reminds me of Sarah Boone. And I was waiting, and because I think because she had more to say, that her lawyer was like, hold on, like, let's cross some of this out. Because I would love, I wish somebody got a picture of what did Jackie cut out for her husband, for Harvey and Donna. What was crossed out?
It was good. It was good.
It was so good. And because Amanda on my channel mentioned that the Markells probably felt similar to the Torres family. Now, Donna did not speak negative, because to me, Sarah Boone was making George out to be this horrific, horrible, evil person. So they did the opposite. They were like, oh no, he was such a good dad. He was such an amazing person. And we are the ones who are really suffering. Like, that's kind of what she tried to do. But I do think it was the cameras and the appearance of it all, that she does not want to be viewed as this, grandmother that could take away her grandchildren's, and because I think she might also think, what if the grandkids ever watch it back? What message would she want them to hear? And her advocating for her innocence, yes, so I think she did, but it got her life plus 30, kind of 60, but I think it was because I think the other two were together or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat room said, I'm glad you made that point. Someone in the chat room yesterday was like, this is for the grandchildren. And you talking about her keeping the appearances up and doing this and that, and she's more concerned about that with facts. Also, we had Jackie in the courtroom kind of reporting back. It's like when they would cut out, Like at one point when Donna was upset or when it ended, whatever, she was like, Donna only stayed upset for like a minute. And
Yeah.
so it's almost like this, up, cameras are on, here we go, but here we go, we're on. And yeah, because I was like, okay, she knows she's performing. She knows the grandkids will see it.
Yeah.
No grandparent, doesn't matter if she was a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is going to come on here and say, yeah, you know what? I hated him. I did it. I'm glad he's gone. One thing that I'm kind of jumping around here.
You're good. You're good.
One thing that like upsets me probably more than it should. Like I was talking about this yesterday. I'm like, why do I get so angry over this? Like you would think it was my own family members, right? Okay, the way that Donna aligns herself, and when I say with the other victims, I'm talking about Dan's parents. She speaks from the POV as if she's coming from the same place as them. Like, we lost him. He was this, he was that. And it's like, honey, we've seen the text messages. We've heard your phone call. Like, why? No, and I'm not trying to say people can't change or whatever, but it's so obviously fake. It's like, we know you didn't think this way. So why are you going so hard as if nobody saw this other stuff? That part is so frustrating. And do you think it's just literally performative, or that she's just so unaware or doesn't have the self-awareness to be like, oh, wait, everybody's seen all this stuff. Maybe I should play it down.
So I think she, similar to once again Sarah Boone, I think she lacks the ability to see things that are different from her perspective. So I think she sees her and her family as the real victims, and that, the prosecutors and everybody else is doing all of this. The fact that in her statement, she had the nerve to say, y'all have no evidence before the bump. It's like, but how you respond to the bump? Because if somebody approached me on the street and gave me something demanding money, I would immediately call the police. I wouldn't call my co-conspirator and be like, and talking in code. Like I wouldn't do that. And because I don't do crimes. But like so the fact that she was upset that, hey, y'all don't have any evidence from the actual time of the crime, forgetting about her handwritten, like she had Dan's make and model and license plate number in her calendar. Like she had, and so it's just, you can't argue with her, because I think her attorneys probably said, that's probably not a great, if her attorney saw her statement in advance, and most attorneys do want to see if the person has a written statement, the attorney's probably going to want to look at it. And so they probably advised her that's probably not going to go over well with the judge. And she's like, no, like this is my time. This is my time to talk. Y'all didn't let me get up on the stand. Like I'm going to get this out here. And she said the words, and Judge Everett, he interrupted her once to be like, is this really what you're, because we should be talking about remorse, because there was not a iota of remorse. There wasn't, even though she was claiming her innocence, she was then blaming and talking down to everybody else in the room. And so, and I think that's just how she is. And I am glad that the jury saw through everything. They convicted her, and I don't think it'll be appealed. Like I don't think she has a good reason to appeal. She will, of course, because I think she's going to be mad that it was a Tallahassee jury, but they were able to find a jury that wasn't aware of, all the details of the case. They were able to find, I think, an impartial jury. They were.
Now, also on that note right there, talking about the jury, yeah, they are convinced that if they had been in Miami, that this would have gone totally different. So also,
No.
no, you have to pretend that doesn't exist. They're doing this right here. I don't see it, so it can't see me.
Paul, the handwritten fake letter that you gave offering a woman who has substance issues offering her the specific name. And this doctor, he's a real guy. I don't know if he's being investigated for any, but she's like, hey, I know somebody that can get you some pills. And this woman is a recovering addict. Like, because one of the jurors mentioned that was that he looked down. Like, he was like, oh wow, like I can't believe somebody would do that if that was true. Because I don't think they needed all of that other evidence, but it was a mess. And so we sit back and we watch the trial, and we're seeing, oh my, we're seeing all of, because I try to go in kind of neutral. I thought she was guilty, so I no lie, I wasn't completely neutral. But when the state got to that forensic evidence, when they're putting her cell phone, with the text message, I'm out front. When the state is going over all of that evidence, her signature on Katie's checks, like when the state's going through all of those things, I am and she's not delusional, because some people will say, like, how is she this is no, she's lying. And my personal thoughts, I can't, I don't think she was sworn in. I don't think the judge did swear.
Correct.
Yeah, she wasn't sworn in. And but with that statement and everything that she said, I just once again, my heart goes out to the Markel family. And she's gonna die in jail. Like, that's just like a life sentence would have been enough for her to, because jail isn't good on people, and like you normally age a lot. Like, there's not a high life expectancy for jail.
And also, someone mentioned this as well.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, go ahead and file this. You know how long the appeal process takes. So it's like, even I mean, it's not going to really get that far because, like you said, she's going to be meeting with, health wise, how you do in jail. It's going to age you very quickly. Depression, all this stuff, whatever, mixed with the slow wheels of the justice system. And so it's like, yeah, you can file all this stuff, but it's not, and I wonder,
Mhm.
do you think, so this is like another question I want to ask you, I just remembered, do you think that Donna had any kind of like coming to Jesus with herself of that realization right there of, even if I file appeals, this is it. I'm not coming back out of here. Or do you think in her mind, I'm going to fight it. I'm going to get out?
She might be doing the Sarah Boone, like, I'm gonna fight it. She's probably mad that she has to pay the
I
$700,000
love that part.
of restitution for the cost of the trial, which the judge warned her of. The judge warned her, hey, if we, just a heads up, you could be on the hook for this prosecution. And she is. Um, I was wondering if she would say anything about Wendy, and she didn't. And so I was just, that's in the back of my mind, I was just wondering if she would throw anybody else under the bus, because she wasn't making Charlie sound innocent. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, she said it was all these other people, and I'm the innocent one.
Yeah. They all kind of have to blame each other. It's
Yeah.
like each person, because what's so funny is listening to her statement, and it's like so much of the stuff, and I guess it's just classic gaslighting, because so much of the stuff that she was claiming everybody else did, it's like, well, you have to do the same too. And she's like, every trial, that each person was the mastermind and blah, 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 blah. And in a sense, it's like, well, each of you were in your own little way a mastermind of the situation. You each were very complicit in this whole thing. My viewpoint is that, yes, if Donna had not been pushing this whole thing like she does, whatever it was that day of the week, that she, one back when it could have been she wanted to paint the house, and so I'm going to manipulate everything to make that happen. Now it's all the way up to, we have to get rid of the brother, the son-in-law. So she wants to make it out like that, and like she didn't know it, but it's just like, well, honey, I mean, I don't think Charlie would have just gone off on his own and been like, you know what, my sister's having a rough time, I'm gonna risk it all and just do all this crazy stuff. He might have done something a little bit more idiotic.
But I think Donna was pushing his of like, hey, how,
Oh yeah.
like Wendy's in so much trouble. Oh my gosh, Dan is making it so bad. I'm never gonna get to see my grandchildren. Oh my gosh, this is so horrible. Can't we do something about this? And I don't know that she's explicitly said what to do, but Charlie kind of prided himself in knowing certain people, and I don't know, like it's really so strange. I think in jail she'll continue to have surrogate daughters because I think she needs that. I think she needs to control and manage other, like, because she, to me, she's all up in everybody else's business so that she can ignore hers. Like, it's like if she just focused on her happiness, because to me, if I'm a happy person, I don't have to worry about you. The most unhappy people are the people that are worrying about everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's a good point that you bring up too, because like, how it's like, well, at least to me, it's more fun and interesting to think about somebody else's problems because it gives you a reprieve for a moment. It's almost like some of my fascination with true crime where I'm like, oh, let's worry about Donna and what's going on, because it's a break from my own BS. But she lives in that world.
But not your entire life identity. because I think like it was the amount of control, and I think it went beyond just normal controlling Jewish mother. Like it goes to an extreme that is just criminal. Like she did crimes. Because I also wonder about, because when Charlie was like, is it the IRS? Did somebody sue us? Because I don't know that they were reporting all the cash that came in. I don't think they were, and they should be glad the IRS didn't come after them because I'm sure when they were paying Katie, I'm sure the business was saying that was payroll, like that was, because that was fraudulent too. So paying for a crime through your business account.
How they did not get the IRS to run through them over this, I am shocked, because so many crimes were going on there. Now, a couple of people just mentioned, I'd be asking for a refund. You 100% know Harvey's gonna, because if you think about this is one of the sweet, things of karma. They didn't get anything they paid for. Not only was she found guilty, Judge threw the book at her, beat her up one side down the next with it. And the only thing was like, I'll suggest that she gets shipped to Miami.
And they had a difficult job. I didn't think Jackie did a great job when it was Jackie's. When Jackie seemed confused, but I think she was trying to be folksy. Like a folksy, like, oh, I'm just doing the best I can. The state has, I don't know, like, I think she was trying to come to be relatable, but it didn't, it came off unorganized to me. The jury wasn't too moved by all of that, according to what they said, but her defense was just, ignore all of the evidence, and it wasn't her. Just let's forget about the suspicious bump. Let's forget about her car. She could have been anywhere. They can't put blah blah blah. It was so yeah. Jackie seemed confused. She was losing her place. They took up so much time. If the defense had been, they probably could have cut a day off of trial if the defense had been more efficient. It was
that whole part was just, even all the way down to sentencing. We're constant. Now, granted, she did have to reel in. I was surprised she reeled Harvey and Donna in as much as she did and said, don't read this, don't read that, blah, 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 blah. But they were even doing that same kind of stuff. And yeah, I give them one benefit of the doubt, or however you say it, like, not being biased of, look at what they were working with, look at who are their clients, look at the evidence. I'm like, okay, I get they're just trying to do their job. But even in that spectrum of things, there was this thing, and I like how you said where she was trying to be relatable, she was trying to be folksy. That's one thing I don't like, whether it's from the state or the defense. Like it can be either one, but when it comes off as inauthentic and performative, and the emotion doesn't match what we're seeing, it's a hard sell, you know. And I felt like that's what she was trying to do, and it started off with the whole "we're going to call him Danny," and I just felt like, yeah, we're not. No, and especially how Georgia said, I want to go through and get all of my one-liners from Georgia that I loved. One of the best ones that she had is when she was talking about that bump, and she was like, they were gleeful that they were being, that it was a hitman, or that it was, what was it, that they were being investigated by the IRS. They were more happy that it was going to be a hitman than an IRS or whatever.
My favorite moment from Georgia is when the divorce attorney from the person that the consultant that reviewed everything, and she was saying divorces are not that involve children, that it's not contentious or something, that this wasn't a contentious divorce. When Georgia went up there and she was like, "So why are you here?" Like those weren't her words, but that was like, why? Like what? I just listened to you for all that time and I have no idea, because it was just all foolish. Why are you even here? It was.
And see, and Georgia's a good example of, she talked to the people, the jury, everybody, like we kind of would. Like she was respectful, but also just like that, like, okay, wait, okay, why are you here? And like, so wait, let me get, like, especially when she had in Charlie's trial, where she would talk to him and be like, just like in this way of like, this doesn't make sense. Like, help me get there. She didn't come off as overly dramatic, as performative. She came off as common sense Curtis, you know, like, I've got my common sense cap on and it ain't making sense. And that comes off as authentic, and juries can see that. They get it, I think.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I love Georgia. I hope that she has her feet kicked up today on vacation and just like treating herself. Can you imagine polishing off this? And granted, there's going to be stuff to come, but it's like they have been sentenced. Whether she's doing other stuff with anybody else, who knows? But like, this saga is, quote, over-ish. I mean, she has to be just breathing a sigh of relief.
And I'm glad they went on ahead and moved it up. And I wonder if they moved it up because I think there's only one or two. There aren't that many female places where they can house women. And like there aren't as many. I think it's jails. Like there aren't as many of those. And so because it was supposed to be in November or later this month. It's supposed to be later, and they ended up moving up sentencing. Monday was a holiday, like it was a federal, but I guess in Florida they don't take Indigenous Peoples Day or Columbus Day. They don't take that as a day off. Because when everybody was saying it was Monday, I was like, oh wow, Monday's a holiday, and Judge Everett's like, let's get this done. Let's get it done.
Ooh, and I hope he is enjoying himself today. I hope he is enjoying himself today. I really do hope that they didn't all have to go back to court today and work or whatever. I hope they somehow factored in like at least a day to be like, especially after having to put up with that. Because when he stopped the whole thing and told what's her name, Donna, he's like, you can keep going, but I'm making note of the utter lack of remorse. Like, and he's so even killed and even tempered and very fair and very whatever. But if he's saying that inside, like, I'm like, oh, I would love to know his internal voice right now, what he's really thinking.
And the good thing, so a good judge doesn't let their personal feelings about the defendant go into their judgment. Because to me, I think he was incredibly fair with her. He gave her so many chances. And I think people knew, because to me, she didn't do anything new. So everything, all the crying, all the everything, I was expecting it. It was more of the same. We were all prepared that she was probably going to say something. And that thing was probably going to be to get mad at Tallahassee, to be mad at the prosecution. I was surprised she included the judge, her and Harvey. They included the judge, but okay, no problem. But it was wow. It was wow.
And see, also on that note too, where you say you're surprised they included the judge. Yeah, when they especially start with Harvey, where he went in on it, I'm like, okay, let's just all pause everything for a second. You do know this man's getting ready to sentence your wife. Granted, we get the life sentences, like this is going through, but you do understand this man's getting ready to sentence your wife. And Donna was like, hold my beer. If we didn't already tick him off enough, I'm going to finish the job. I was like, she's begging for the electric chair. It's like, she's going to come in here facing life sentence. He's going to find a way to give her the electric chair.
And this was probably easy for the state. So the state probably didn't have that much to, like, they didn't go up and, like, as I think it was clear what the first count was life in prison, like, mandatory. So, okay, without the possibility of parole. So, um, uh, um, I just, yeah, it's a lot.
Do you have any thoughts? And this is kind of like like a random question here that I'm throwing at you. Okay. Do you have any thoughts? And this is like overall in our consumption of true crime and watching the trials and where there's almost like this thing where we get behind people like Judge Everett in Georgia, and we're like, we really love them as people, and we're like, yeah, bring that justice. Like, do you have anything to say? Like, what is that human desire? I mean, obviously justice and seeing something wrong righted, but do you have any thoughts on like that dynamic of the relationship with the viewer and getting behind these, and I don't want to say characters, but the people in these things that we're watching, how they kind of become characters to us that we're rooting for in the name of justice?
Because the Karen Reed judge, it was the opposite. People did not like her. Like, it was, and I would try to watch the trial and the judge's rulings and the way that the judge was handling the court. I could hear in her voice, it seemed like the judge was frustrated with the defense over and over. And so, like, I had trouble watching that case because I would have preferred someone like Judge Everett or Judge Kranek or one of the other phenomenal judges. I'm thinking of the one from Arizona from Lori's case. I would prefer somebody to manage the courtroom like that. I learned so much about the law. So I like watching these cases because I end up learning, oh my gosh, like, they can do a lot with your phones. Like, don't like they like there's a lot that can happen. And to see how the state frames everything, because things came out in Donna's case that I was not aware of. And I thought what I knew was pretty bad. And then it was like, oh no, the state had even more evidence than what we were all even, than what we knew. And so, yeah, so I think because sometimes there can be some defense lawyers that people root for. So I think Karen Reed's defense lawyer, I think a lot of people liked him.
Mhm.
There have been lawyers for the state that I haven't loved their style. I haven't loved the way that they presented the case. But they did their job. They did a great job. To me, Georgia was one of the few lawyers that you could tell what she was thinking based on her face. Like, she was like, really? Like, that's what that's what we're going with? Because was it her? I think it was, there was a recent trial that I watched where the prosecutor laughed. I don't think it was Georgia. I think it was a different case. It was the Nicholas Casotis case where the prosecutor laughed and as he was up there lying, just lying. The prosecutor is like, "You really want us to believe this?" And she laughed in his face, and that felt, because I wanted to laugh. Um, but I do encourage people to take breaks from true crime when they need to. There have been some cases that I haven't talked about because they're just really, really heavy. And then I try to warn people when I do cover cases that have difficult themes, that I warn people at the beginning. And so I really respect people where they're like, hey, I don't do cases where, that involve the death of children or that involve certain things or certain themes. And so, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, one thing. So two notes on
Yes.
what all you just said. So first of all, like when we were watching the thing yesterday, I'm like, wait, Georgia's not going to say anything. Well, then earlier today, when I was cutting up the video, the clips from other channel, I was looking. I was like, Paul, she said so much. The glimpses you would get of her, I was like, she said enough. Just with the expressions on her
And
face.
the judge's face.
Yes.
The judge is up here like, is this a character? I'm just
100%.
man. It sounds like this would be more appropriate for your appeal. Like this
He was like trying to help her out, right? He's like trying to help you out here. Look, this is not what you want to do here. Now, the Nick Casotis case, that one was literally like, okay, there's no way they would have like whatever, like if you get in trouble as a lawyer, like whatever it would have happened to me, because people were openly laughing at him in the courtroom. It was like, how could you not? It was the most insane testimony I have ever seen in my life.
He was thinking he was telling some jokes. Like he laughed a few at times that it wasn't really. You shouldn't be laughing about, hey, I'm not good with blood. Ha ha ha. And then his first wife, his ex-wife Heather, she confirmed, yeah, he really isn't good with blood. So he was actually telling the truth there, because I was thinking he was lying. Because once somebody starts lying, you don't know what to believe. So because there were a lot of people who were like, was he really a JAG lawyer? Was he really this? And I was like, yeah, like there were a few kernels of truth in the midst of that like ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm. Now, so with Donna, so I saw Pretty Lies and Alibis posted something earlier saying she's in the custody of she's been shipped off or whatever. First of all, that jail was like, honey, we will personally take her and drop her off, get her out of here.
Jail is that big because she was complaining. She was mad. Like she was probably a problem.
100%.
And I don't know if Tanika's 2 cents or if anybody is going to request her, because sometimes you can request the discipline log and things, because sometimes they get written up for like not abiding by the rules or different things like that. But in prison, she will have a cell, like a cell, because we were able to see the big pot. There's an open bay. Because I guess she came off watch because she was probably on that on a live watch for I don't know if it was like a week, but she was probably on it for a period of time. She displayed that she's stable, she's safe. She probably met with the mental health people and they took her off of it. But now so Tanika has her log, and I'm glad that they went on ahead and just moved her over.
So yeah, all the things you just said right there, and this is gonna be another thing that's interesting. Pardon me. Is I'm trying to get rid of it. When she transitions from jail to prison, or like she has whatever, when she sees the differences and how she is treated, and the idea of like, no, you're property of the state now, like this is very different, because the jail always has this huge thing of like, we got to get, especially high profile, it's like we got to get these people to we got to get them to trial, we got to do this. Not that prison's not looking out for their safety, but they're very different. Now also, she's going to kind of, in my opinion, get a little bit more, out to say cushy, but because of her age, it's not like she's being thrown to some like hardcore population. She's going to be in a different vibe. Nonetheless, it's still prison. And I think when she sees, honey, they're not going to hold your hand and do this, that, and the other. You're going to be in a different vibe here. It's going to be a major wake-up call for her.
And she is going to submit her complaints to the manager. Like she just can't help herself. Just like, and so it really does remind me of Sarah Boone. And I hope, because I saw in the chat that people think she might be going to the same place as Sarah. And I don't know that those guards are ready. But please, not Donna and Sarah. Like, please.
You got guards.
It is that but sometimes they've dealt with worse. And so Because Donna's just obnoxious to me. Do you like she's just out loud with it. She doesn't try to cover it up. She doesn't try to fake it. Like, and the weird thing is that I think she believes she's advocating for herself and being reasonable when we're all just like, that's you want your ear, nose, and throat doctor? Like you want what? What are you talking about? You're mad about the carbs? I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, can you imagine dealing with, especially if you were in some situation where you were a guard that had to deal with both Donna and Sarah, because while they're so similar in one way, they each like make me respond in a different way. Like if you were to say, Paul, who could you deal with more? I could probably deal with Donna more because there's something about Sarah.
It's obnoxious. Like, oh.
Yeah, like it brings up this weird level of hatred in me that it speaks more to me about me than it does her, where I'm like, I shouldn't like be this like weird about a person. Whereas Donna, I'm like, I don't like her and she's annoying, but I can handle her more. Whereas Sarah's more like this. She has this nanny boo boo kind of thing. It's maybe the way her at like the way she talks and this like, I don't know, like this holier than thou, whereas Donna is more framed as constantly being like, poor me, I'm a victim. Oh my God. And I can like block that out really easy and be like,
see,
no.
that's whiny. I would rather have Sarah. I don't know.
Really?
Like I don't do whining. Even my 8-year-old, if he comes to me with a certain tone, I'm like, take a breath, say it regular. Like, please no, I can't. I just can't. And I think they would both initially, because I think they both love bomb, meaning when you first meet them, you might actually like them. Like they might be helpful. They might be kind of sweet, but anytime there was conflict, I think that's when the real them would come out. And now whose bad side would I rather be on? Probably Donna. Like I'd probably rather be on Donna's bad side because she would probably try to talk somebody into beating me up. Sarah probably is gonna. I don't know. Like Sarah, I don't know. Like she's gonna say it herself. She's not gonna use because Donna's gonna go report me to the manager and be like maybe lie. I don't know. But Sarah's gonna say some stuff herself. So I don't know.
And that comment I just posted from Brady, that was so true, where they said about the prison guards are going to ignore her and that's going to drive her crazy. I think that's going to be a huge thing that she runs into, where they're just going to come at this kind of way of like, oh, yeah, if you got file a thing and give it to someone, so they'll be around in 2 hours. Well, wait a minute. You have to. No, we don't. No, you can get. You want the turtle suit again? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just going to be real, and she's, she felt so. If they put her in that green turtle suit, can you imagine for Donna how humiliating that would be to be sitting there doing that? Like, and I guess the part that gets me about it is I'm like, in this whole time in her mind, I'm going to believe what she's telling me about herself. She thinks she is innocent. So to her, she's like, they have put me naked in this room in a green turtle suit and I've done nothing wrong. And it's just like, okay, I mean, great, interesting. Yeah, Ginger says, I hope the cost and lawsuit make the Adelsons penniless. When they said that the money part, I felt like there was this glimpse on Donna's face that to me was like this: y'all are never gonna see that money,
Wow.
Yeah, y'all ain't gonna ever get that money. Harvey was thinking the same thing. He's like, yeah, it's not gonna ever.
But I wonder who took out the second mortgage, but they might try to file bankruptcy or something. I don't know.
I think they'll get tricky enough to avoid, what I'm saying, to shuffle stuff.
They probably know somebody, they know an accountant or somebody that
plays like this is already done. This is already in the works. Someone like them, I'm sure behind the scenes has already been planning this out, like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to shift this. We're going to do this, and if they really are the type that are like, it's all for the grandkids, then they probably have been shifting everything to Wendy in some fashion, I would think, because, they don't talk to Rob. So I guess in their world, it's like their friends and Wendy are really all they have.
I honestly think she's written Rob off altogether. I'm
Okay.
glad she didn't mention Rob. To
Yeah.
me, he is when I see people in the comments saying those Adelsons, I'm always like, not Rob. like let's
I know. I know.
no, not Rob.
Bless
Uh,
his heart.
yeah, yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Right. I was just going to kind of go back in time to with Rob and the stand and
Yes.
stuff, but it was so refreshing to see an Adelson,
Mhm.
yeah, especially in the last trial where it's like, this is what an innocent person sounds like that's involved in the situation. This is the son who, granted, he's not in their clique, but the answers he's giving are what an innocent person would say. That's like, well, yeah, we do want to catch the well, why wouldn't I talk to the cops? Well, why wouldn't I do that? Like, these are normal answers that, like, this is what anybody else would say. And this is their own flesh and blood. So here you go. It was such a good, what do you call it, juxtaposition, or how you say, comparison to the other Adelsons who are just like, well, what's wrong with that? Well, of course we would talk to the person on the street who handed us a piece of paper and threatened us. Like, why wouldn't we do that? That's totally normal. This was so much going back to the Wizard of Oz, the whole thing of don't look at that thing behind the curtain. Just pay attention to the thing, to the the thing that you see here. Hold on, purple is a routine color. Now, look, before we go, because I know you got to go and I got to go too, I want to say this. Next trial I'm going to start following ish is, and I'm curious if you know anything about this, Brendan Banfield. Have you followed that at all?
I'm bad. I'm so bad with names. What's it about?
So he is going up for trial.
I think it was in Virginia. So so I don't personally, but this is a Virginia trial. Like if this is
yeah, so it's he's accused in February 24, 2023, the murders of his wife, Christine Banfield, and a man named Joseph Ryan at the couple's home in the Reston area of Fairfax County, Virginia. And the nanny, I believe, she was a nanny, has already pled out and will testify against him.
yes.
And so it sounds very that right there. You know what I'm saying? October 20th, allegedly, is going to be when it starts. But I did a little post asking people, like, what do y'all want to kind of follow next since Brian's, not here? And before Courtney. And everybody, several people mentioned this. I've been looking into it last 2 days, and I'm like, oh, this does sound interesting.
So I will definitely be following this one. I'm not. I don't think I. So my schedule, y'all know, I'm a real life psychologist. I see clients Monday through Friday. But if something happened, because I do have one day of the week that is sometimes a little bit more flexible for me. But the au pair and the Brendan Banfield, because his wife was Christine, her husband, they were having an affair. And it's my understanding that or the allegation is that they plotted together. And so there will definitely be, like, she will have to testify, because that was a part of her deal with the state. And so I will definitely be following it. I think and because I just want to see what type of defense they're even gonna try to say. But
yeah, definitely the opening. I'm very curious to see from just a little bit I've read of it. I'm like, what is the defense going to say? Like, I'm always very curious about that. Like, how are we trying to get out of this? Right. Especially,
they're going to try to say it was all her or something, or like she's the jealous. I don't know. Like, I wonder if they're going to try to smear her name somehow. I don't know. Like, it looks very, very suspicious.
Yeah, it does. Do you have anything you want to say before we head out? Like any closing, anything, or
And so I will be live again on Saturday. That is the plan. I am following because the Bianca Ellis case is out to the jury. So I am just keeping an eye on any type of verdict in that case. Somebody asked how old was the au pair. She looked like she was in her 20s. I could be wrong. I don't see her age for the chat. But so those are the only things coming up for me.
Cool. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to be kind of going into this, and then just the same usual stuff. So yeah, until we meet up next time for something, I, as usual, greatly appreciate you coming over and giving your insights into this case and our conversation. It's always fun having you on here talking and dishing and doing all the stuff, you know.
Thank you for having me. I love getting to hang out with you and the Sofa Squad.
Yay. Well, thank you, mods. Thank you, squad. Thank you, psych nerds. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us and being here. And we will see y'all on the next go round. The pillow